Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Thank you for calling this hearing, and I think it's good to see the chairman proceeding in a tradition on this subcommittee where the two sides try to work together on pension issues. When the present Speaker of the House, Speaker Boehner, chaired this subcommittee a few years ago, we were able to work with him quite successfully on the 2006 Act, and I think achieved some good things for the people of our country, and I'm glad to see that you were following in that tradition. I appreciate it very, very much. I think this is a very timely discussion because anybody who visits retirees in their district now knows the incredible stress that these families are under. I live in a state that has very, very high cost of living, high property taxes, high utility bills, high cost of food, all sorts of things. And, you know, last week was a very hot and humid week in our district, and I visited a number of senior citizens, and you know, you see them living in one room because it costs too much to cool the rest of the house, so they try to keep their air conditioning bills as low as possible. Some not even turn on the air conditioner at all because it's a bill they can't pay. You know, these are the people that you see at the grocery store searching for whatever aisle might have the deep discount markdown stuff because the boxes are a little bit defective of cereal, or the milk's a little bit older than the rest of the milk. These are the people who, if they get a gift, they save the wrapping paper so they can reuse the wrapping paper if they want to give their grandchild or someone a gift. These are people living at or very close to the edge of oblivion in their economic situation. And so, obviously, it makes a lot of sense for us to talk about ways that we can work together to try to enhance and improve retirement income for America's retirees. And I know that the panel today will have some very good ideas about that. I would respectfully suggest, though, that there are two things we ought to do to help retirees through this very, very difficult time. The first, and I say this with all due respect, would be for the majority to withdraw its ill-considered plan to end Medicare. The Congressional Budget Office tells us that the additional cost of copays and deductibles and premiums, the additional out-of-pocket health care costs for Medicare recipients, if the Republican plan goes through, would be an additional $6,000 a year. Now, put this in perspective. A person who's 54 years of age today would have to save an additional $182,000 in their 401k or some other account just to generate enough income to pay the extra health care bills that the Republican Medicare proposal entails. To put that in some perspective, most people about 5 years out from retirement only have $100,000 in their account to begin with. So if we want to talk about, elevating the standard of living for America's retirees, we ought to talk about withdrawing this disastrous proposal on Medicare that Congress has looked at this spring. Second, I would say that, again with all due respect, when it comes to the fiduciary rule that's under consideration here, look, one of the reasons we had the financial collapse of this country of 2008 is the disease of conflict of interest, where people were acting on behalf of one set of interests and they were really representing another set of interests. For most Americans, second only to their home equity, their most precious asset is their pension. And I definitely think that we need rules that say, when someone gives you advice on investing your pension, they should be acting in your interest and not theirs. People should not be receiving advice from someone who would stand to benefit more if you put your account in this mutual fund rather than that one, or in a mutual fund rather than a bond fund. As I understand the proposed rule, it simply says that the interests of people giving advice have to be aligned with the interests of people receiving it. And I think that's something that we need and should be taking a look at. So I appreciate the chance to explore these issues. I know this panel is an expert panel. We're glad that you're here. We look forward to engaging questions, and I thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the gentleman for yielding.